Kino, and first of all, thank you so much making your time for this interview. And we all know that you have practiced Ashtanga for 17 years.
Yeah.
So tell us about what's the biggest challenge during your past 17 years with Ashtanga.
Well, I mean, first of all, when I started the practice, I was never a dancer, I was never a gymnast, I was never really anything physical. So my biggest challenge was strength. I was never really strong. I could never do any of the powerful lift-up poses. So for me, my biggest lesson is learning how to be strong, how to believe in myself, and really how to never give up.
So it's both physically and mentally?
Absolutely, or I would say that it's both physical and spiritual.
Thank you. And some people, Ashtanga now become bigger and bigger.
Awesome.
And there's some criticize, always different voices. People say now Micro become too commercialized. I think the old time, you need more time staying with the teacher and authorizing and certification is totally different. Now they kind of make a standard process together, authorization and certification. So what do you think?
Well, I think that it's always easy to romanticize the past and to say that, in a bygone era it was better, but I think that we always get the teaching and the teacher that's appropriate to where we are. So I love going back to Mysore now, and I think that any student who's interested should go and make the journey and really should embrace the teaching. But more than anything, the journey to Mysore represents an intention to embark on a spiritual quest on the part of the student, so that the student is interested in the spiritual journey and is interested in finding the heart of the practice. So this is a really important step, I think, just in the journey towards the center of the Ashtanga yoga method. And really, we can never say that just because you have a piece of paper, whether you're authorized or certified, doesn't mean more than that you've really gone through and been through the rigors of being a student. I believe that truly it's the students who choose the teachers. So one should never go to Mysore with the intention of gathering a piece of paper that says you're authorized or certified. If your goal is to get the certification or get the authorization, I think then you're already missing, the heart of the practice. Because it's not about that. You should commit yourself just to being a student, and then that process itself will lead you through a transformation. And automatically, if you're meant to be a teacher, then students will come to you, and everything will sort of unfold before you. But if you pursue yoga from the starting point as a career path, I think that the yoga should start off as a personal journey, and then that journey will lead you into sharing the essence of the spiritual practice in whatever way is really right for you, your dharma.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. And there's a question from a Chinese practitioner, and she asked, do you think yoga in general or Ashtanga will be helpful for people who have addiction, especially like alcohol and drugs? And in what way would you think?
That's a really good question. First of all, I definitely think that the practice of yoga can be an avenue of healing for people who are suffering in many different ways. And there is work done in the United States in relationship of combining yoga practice with the 12-step program. And there's a really amazing American woman named Nikki Myers who's developed this program with the yoga with the 12-step recovery. So it's a book and it's a program, and it takes certified yoga teachers, people who are already qualified teachers, and then trains them in the particularities of sharing yoga with people in recovery. And it partners really well with the 12-step program that's really helped many addicts find freedom. And I've talked to so many people who used to live in the life of an addict, whether alcoholic or drug users or other forms of addiction, and yoga has been a really important part of their healing as a path to, so yoga has been a really important part of their healing as a path to knowing themselves, as a path to knowing God, as a path to really understanding a deep state of inner resolution.
So like you mean become stronger inside?
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. But I don't think that yoga should be taken as a replacement for outside help, and I think that it's complementary to healing modalities and healing disciplines, but I don't think that we should sort of self-medicate with only yoga. Instead we should bring it into kind of our whole, a holistic sort of
DVD.
Yeah.
So what's your project in process? Like what are you working on?
Yeah. Well, gosh, I have a lot of projects in process actually. But the one that I'm really excited about right now is I'm working on my 4th book, which is going to be called The Yogi Assignment. And these are 30 kind of life lessons that are distilled from the spiritual path of yoga. And they're going to be presented as lessons that you can take off the mat and bring them into your daily life. And so this book is going to be really wonderful because if you're a dedicated practitioner, you're going to find tools that will integrate the lessons on your mat into how to make your life a more peaceful place. And even if you never practice, you may be able to glean some of the distilled lessons of the yogic path as kind of inspiration to live a better life.
So there are different topics.
Different topics, yeah, there'll be 30 different topics. Yeah.
So the book with DVD or just book?
Just the book, yeah.
They're already in YouTube somewhere.
Some of these things, yeah, some of these things.
There's a collection of it.
Yeah.
Super. And you know, for Chinese learning English, it's totally different compared with like French learning English or Spanish. So what's your recommendation for Chinese practitioner? Because they are like language barrier. They have limited resource to Ashtanga. So what's your recommendation? Because you travel a lot around and you know many different foreigners and Ashtanga. So what did you notice any? They have tricks?
Well, I think 2 things. First of all, one of the things that I love about yoga is that because it is a physical discipline, while we may speak different languages, our bodies all feel the same inside. You know, we feel pain, we feel pleasure, we feel ourselves, we feel the heart, and we just feel from the inside. So as we begin to practice, particularly if we're learning, say, the Ashtanga method, the Mysore style traditional method, it's taught through hands-on assists and minimal verbal instructions, and it's about the breath and coming together in this transformational space. So this is one of the things that I think is really made Ashtanga really popular, is that you can go take someone's Mysore class and you may not speak the same language verbally, but you can speak the language of the body. And this, I think, is really powerful. Going to class, I think, is really important, and being steeped in that traditional Mysore style method so that you can feel body to body. And you know, the flip side too, you know, American or English speakers trying to learn the traditional Chinese language is very difficult. Yeah, exactly. Very challenging. So I think that the true language of yoga is Sanskrit. So really devoting time
to everyone's foreigner.
Foreign language. So, and I also think that as there are more teachers that are really growing within a community, then they'll be able to share to their community in their native language, and that will only help grow grow the yoga practice. And I mean, I would love for my books to be translated into Chinese. So I would just need an interested Chinese publisher.
Yes, I also teach, so I have similar feelings sometimes. As a teacher, sometimes we are expected treating the student as a customer, especially in the commercialized context. You understand, but it's a different relationship between student and teacher and customer. So how can you balance, or what's your recommendation, advices for teacher, yoga teacher? How can we have so many expectations on the things?
Well, the first thing to understand, I think, is that in business and in customer service, it's oftentimes that we have this attitude, if you run a coffee shop or if you have a clothing line or something like this, that you have this perspective where you think that the customer is always right. But in the teacher-student relationship, there are many times that the student is not right. And it's very hard to negotiate that space. And then there are times when I think that that students who maybe come from an exercise background or potentially come from some other service-oriented background where they start to think that the purpose of the teacher is to give them certain assists. So then they think, okay, well, so I'm going to get these assists, and then it begins to be more like a massage. So that's really not the role of the yoga teacher. The role of the yoga teacher is a guide into the inner experience. So I think the most important thing about being that guide is to hold yourself in a place of love, to hold the student in a place of love, and to understand that your role is service, but you can't wear all hats. So you remember that you're a human being that is, is someone, hello? Okay. So just to remember that you're a human being and to acknowledge your limits. so that if somebody asks you a medical question, to not feel like you need to have the answer, to feel confident in referring these students to a qualified doctor or physical therapist. And the same thing in relation to any sort of personal psychological issues that may be arising. You don't need to feel like you have all the answers. You simply need to respond with love and compassion and help the student along their journey as much as you can. And I think it's super important, because if you present yourself as this person with all the answers to all things, then you'll only fall off that pedestal. You know, it's all right.
You are visiting China next day, right, in Shanghai. So do you have any words for Chinese practitioners?
Oh, I think that everyone in China should practice, and I think that everyone should come to my class.
Okay.